Clear, simple, and easy to understand. Imagine you are in a department store and you need to buy tennis balls. Using either the written information or the map below, try to locate the shop that sells them. Did you find it? That's right. It's on the 4th floor. Which do you think was more helpful, the written information or the map? If you're like most people, you probably found the map more useful. This illustration is a good example of information design. Information design is the skill and practice of presenting information effectively. It turns complex data into visualized information in a clear, simple way. That is, information design is meant to simplify and filter data by using visual representations, such as charts, graphs, and diagrams, so that the most important pieces of information can be emphasized. In this way, it can help us find information efficiently by focusing attention in a world increasingly filled with information. Good information design can help viewers understand confusing or complex data easily. There are 3 main benefits of using information design. Immediacy. Using visual communication instead of words saves time. Think about how long it sometimes takes to give directions to people unfamiliar with an area. Now, imagine how much easier it would be to simply show them a map. Simplicity. Illustrations can show detailed information in a way that is easily understood. This is why people making important presentations often use charts and graphs to present complicated information. Accessibility. While it may be hard to understand a foreign language, everyone can appreciate a simple image. This is why international symbols are used for many kinds of signs. Information design is all around us, making our lives easier in ways most of us don't even notice. Let's take a closer look at some examples. Example 1. Subway maps. Subways are a convenient form of transportation in many large cities. But going through an unfamiliar subway system can be a real challenge, especially for foreigners. Despite cultural and language differences, however, subway maps all around the world have clear similarities. First of all, subway lines are shown simply, moving either vertically, horizontally, or at an angle of 45 degrees without any curves. Also, the subway stations are separated evenly, regardless of their actual distances from one another. Finally, transfer stations are always shown as one location. This might not sound impressive, but in the past, subway maps were much more difficult to understand. The London Underground was the world's first subway system. In 1908, the first maps of the system were published. But because the subway lines were shown as they appear in real life, without simplification, the maps were confusing and hard to read. It was Harry Beck that came up with an innovative idea in 1931. As a Department of Transportation worker, he realized that only 2 things matter for passengers when traveling by subway: people's final destination and location to transfer. Therefore, he altered the London Underground maps by straightening out most of the curves and making each line a different color. He also ignored the actual distances between stations, allowing them to be shown more clearly. The final result was a subway map that was easy to understand. Before long, maps of subway systems around the world were made by copying Harry Beck's creative use of information design. Example 2. Easy recipes. Have you ever tried to follow a recipe? Even if the recipe is written simply, it can be difficult for someone to understand. Imagine you want to make a cafe mocha at home. Here's the recipe in its standard form. How to make a cafe mocha. Ingredients: 2 ounces of espresso, double shot, 6 ounces of milk, 0.5 ounces of chocolate syrup, whipped cream, optional. Directions: Number 1. Prepare hot espresso, steamed milk, and chocolate syrup. Number 2. Place 2 shots of espresso in a coffee mug. Number 3. Add chocolate syrup to the mug. Number 4. Add steamed milk to the mug and stir gently. Number 5. If you choose to, add whipped cream on top. Now, take a look at the same recipe using information design. It's much simpler, isn't it? Some may complain that, compared to the original recipe, the one using information design doesn't contain much detailed information. But if you are a person who is making a number of different drinks quickly, this use of information design could be very helpful for understanding recipes at a glance. Thanks to information design, we don't have to read long and complicated written explanations. Do you think you could use it to explain something clearly and simply? Maybe you could give a presentation in class using visual information instead of giving confusing explanations full of difficult words. Actually, there is no limit to the possibilities.